If someone truly misses you, they show it unconsciously. Carl Jung. Have you ever felt that someone is thinking about you, even when absolute silence exists between you? As if that person's energy still touches you in an inexplicable way, even from afar. Carl Jung believed that human connections transcend the boundaries of time and space. In his view, we are not only connected through memories and words, but through something much deeper, a psychic connection that vibrates within the collective unconscious. When someone truly feels your absence, it doesn't just show up in their thoughts. It pulses through the body, through the soul, through signs that escape any logical explanation. In this video, you will discover 5 of the most subtle yet powerful signs that someone is yearning to see you. But be mindful, this is not about superficial longing or forced messages. This is about genuine yearning, which Jung would describe as something that rises from the deepest core of the psyche, where repressed emotions turn into symbolic energy, trying to find their way back to you. Because when a soul calls out for someone, it sends signals. And when you learn to recognize them, you'll understand that silence can speak louder than any word. Perhaps while watching this video, you'll realize that the emptiness that hurts you is also hurting on the other side. That the person you thought had forgotten you relives your shared memories every day. Rumi teaches us that every true encounter leaves a mark on the soul, and these marks are not erased by distance. They simply rest, waiting to be reawakened. That's why you shouldn't skip this video. What you're about to hear may forever change how you perceive unspoken emotions, broken glances, and the coldest silences. Maybe right at this moment, someone is longing for you deeply, and you don't even know it. But by the end of this video, we'll prepare yourself. What we are sharing here goes far beyond any advice. It is a journey into the unconscious, guided by the profound ideas of Jung. And perhaps as you allow yourself to be drawn into it, you'll realize that you too are yearning for someone. The first sign is dreams and archetypal images. When someone feels a deep longing, it often manifests in the world of dreams, a realm Jung regarded as a gateway to the unconscious. He taught that dreams are not mere fantasies, but symbolic messages, full of meaning, originating from the deepest layers of the psyche. If a particular person keeps appearing in your dreams, it can be a strong sign that they are yearning for you even without saying a single word. This phenomenon arises because within the collective unconscious archetypes, universal images and symbols act as messengers of unspoken emotions. Longing, though often quiet, seeks expression through symbols and recurring figures that urge you to look, to recognize the presence of the other within yourself. Jung said that such dreams are a call to acknowledge the psychic energy that still flows between you. These dreams are not merely dreams. They are emotionally charged images that echo in your soul and can leave you restless even during the day. This restlessness is a subtle form of communication that escapes rational control. A constant reminder that this person still holds a meaningful place in your inner world and in their own. This deep longing transcends the physical and anchors itself in the invisible field of the unconscious. Recognizing the signs that appear in dreams is a way to reconnect with what Jung called the shadow, the repressed or forgotten aspects of the self that must be integrated to achieve wholeness. When someone misses you, a part of their own shadow may be tied to your absence. And this shadow reveals itself in your unconscious in the form of dreams, symbols, and deep emotions. So do not ignore the face or memory that appears in your dreams with intensity and emotion. It could be your unconscious speaking, revealing that an invisible bond still exists between you, a standard that transcends time and space, that lives in the realm of archetypes and pulses within the soul. Part 2. The second sign. Silence that speaks more than words. For Jung, the silence between two people can be just as meaningful as a long conversation. Silence can be a powerful means of conveying sadness, especially when words are absent or suppressed. The lack of contact can paradoxically be the clearest expression of an unspoken feeling, an emptiness that screams for presence. When someone longs for you, silence can turn into its own language, an expression of the inner conflict between the desire for closeness and the fear of vulnerability. Jung would explain that this tension lies at the core of the human psyche, the yearning for the other, and, at the same time, the fear of revealing oneself. That is why silence is never empty. It is full of emotion, hope, and pain. Have you ever noticed that some people never truly disappear from your life? Even in silence, they appear in your thoughts, memories, and above all, in what Jung called emotional complexes. Psychic centers full of emotional energy that surface in unexpected ways. In a glance, a gesture, or almost mystical coincidences. This loud silence is a clear sign of the Saudi that still exists even when words are missing. Jung taught that true communication is not only what is spoken, but also what is deeply felt. What was not said, what remained unspoken between you, still holds power. And silence is the channel through which this sword expresses itself. Do you sense a strange silence between you and someone? Then listen closely. Perhaps it speaks louder than you think and reveals that someone is yearning for you, but is afraid to open up emotionally again. Part 3. The third sign. Small gestures and synchronicities. Jung introduced a revolutionary concept that explains many emotional phenomena: synchronicity. He described it as a meaningful coincidence between the inner and outer world, not explainable by causality, yet carrying deep symbolic significance. When someone longs for you, small gestures, events, or seemingly random encounters can be signs that this person is still thinking about you. Have you ever felt chills when hearing a song that reminded you of someone? Or noticed that places or objects suddenly take on special meaning, like invisible bridges between two separated souls? Jung would have said that such moments are manifestations of synchronicity, messages from the unconscious that connect two people across different layers of reality. These small coincidences are not mere chance. They carry the psychic energy of nostalgia, trying to express itself through everyday symbols to show that despite the distance, an emotional connection still exists. For Jung, these are forms of nonverbal communication through which the universe reminds us that a true connection continues to exist. These signs can also appear in small, spontaneous gestures, an impulsively sent message, a shared memento, or an unexpected gift. They are expressions of the collective unconscious trying to restore emotional balance, an attempt to bridge the physical distance. That's why you shouldn't underestimate these little everyday details. They may be the path the other soul has chosen to let you know that soul is alive, pulsing, and waiting to be recognized. Part 4. The fourth sign is the energy that still vibrates between you. For Jung, the psyche is not an isolated space, but constantly interacts with others, forming an invisible web of emotional energies. When someone feels genuine longing, it creates a psychic vibration that, even if subtle, can be felt on the other side. Have you ever felt in a moment of deep connection, as if the air around you was filled with inexplicable emotional tension? Jung called this the psychic field, an invisible, dynamic energy that exists between people with deep bonds. This energy persists even across physical distance, as if there were a guiding thread between two souls. This energetic field reveals itself in physical sensations, unexplainable heaviness, sudden restlessness, or a longing that weighs on the heart. These are signs that the other's presence still echoes within you, and that he or she in some way is still there, despite being physically far away. So if you feel this kind of energy, this inexplicable sadness without logical reason, know that it might be the reflex of a bond that still exists. A sign that someone is yearning for you, and that this nostalgia is generating a vibration that transcends time, space, and consciousness. Part 5, the fifth sign, intuition as the messenger. Carl Jung valued intuition as one of the deepest functions of the psyche, a form of knowledge that goes beyond logical thinking and reaches into the unconscious. When someone sincerely longs for you, your intuition can pick up on this emotional presence in subtle ways, like an inner whisper or a sudden insight. How often have you had the impulse to call someone for no apparent reason, or a strong feeling that someone is thinking about you at that very moment? For Jung, such experiences are not coincidences but expressions of the unconscious, bridges of nostalgia that are invisibly built and perceived through intuition. Intuition is the voice of the self, that inner center of the psyche that strives for wholeness and connection. Through it, you can perceive not only the visible, but also the hidden, what is felt but not spoken. So, trust these inner signals. They are signs that longing exists, and that this sod may even be mutual. If you allow this energy to flow, the invisible bond between you might manifest, perhaps even in a reunion. Have you ever felt something stir within you without being able to explain it? Like an invisible breath brushing your soul, carrying the echo of an unspoken thought, or the nostalgic scent of a presence that is no longer there. There are moments when a person's absence is not just a circumstance, but an atmosphere. It doesn't only live in memory, it dwells in your body, in your gestures, and in your gaze that suddenly falls into emptiness. That unexplainable tightness in your chest, the subtle sting at nightfall, or when a song blends into the noise of the world, that is not just sadness. It is something more primal, deeper, something Jung would have called the whisper of the shadow. That unconscious part that carries our most secret desires and repressed emotions. What we don't want to admit to ourselves, yet still lives within us. Some people do not need to be physically present for their energy to continue shaping our lives, because not every bond requires words or logic to remain alive. Sometimes it is an energetic connection that defies all explanation. You think of this person at the most unexpected moments, not because you want to, but because something beyond your will is calling them. And even though you try to distract yourself, to rationalize it, or to create distance, there are forces that cannot be controlled. Memories that can't be filed away. Emotions that have no deadline. You know it when you unconsciously draw their face in your thoughts. You know it when you say their name in a dream and wake up with a feeling for which you have no words. It's not just love, not just nostalgia. It is a kind of presence that refuses to disappear, as if this soul refuses to leave yours. And then you ask yourself whether you also appear in their silence, whether you might be the unspoken thought when they stare off into the void. There are people who say nothing but feel with overwhelming intensity, and there are people who walk away out of pride, fear, or unresolved wounds, even though a part of them still secretly calls out to you. The difficult part is this call doesn't sound like words, but like vibrations. It shows up in synchronicities, in little signs from the universe, and in coincidences that are too precise to be mere chance. What if that song playing right at the moment you thought of them wasn't a coincidence? What if that recurring dream, that flutter in your stomach, or that breeze at a specific place weren't just random phenomena, but encrypted messages? The soul has its own language, and it rarely speaks directly. Intuition is the oldest voice within us. It does not shout. It reveals itself to those who have learned to listen. That unexplainable feeling, that sudden premonition, is often the expression of something unresolved. Sometimes it's a sign that someone on the other side is feeling the same, quietly remembering you, caught in an inner conflict between wanting to return and not knowing how. Pride, fear, the belief that it's over. These can be high walls. But even behind those walls, the soul continues to speak, and often it speaks through the body. A restlessness without cause, a heavy fatigue, a vague sense of unease. All of these are ways in which the unconscious tells us something wants to be seen, acknowledged, maybe even healed. If a connection was real and left a mark deep within you, it doesn't just disappear. It can hide. It can sleep for years, but it does not fade, because what was deeply felt remains etched forever in the skin of your soul. Jung spoke of archetypal imprints of symbols that embed themselves in our psyche and resonate every time something in our environment triggers them. And often, those imprints are shared. What you feel isn't always just yours. Sometimes you also feel the vibration of the other, the emotional movement of someone connected to you on that subtle level where words are no longer enough. And perhaps you ask yourself, why does it still hurt even after so much time has passed? Why is it returning now just when I thought I had let go? Maybe because saudade, that Portuguese word that can hardly be translated, doesn't follow the chronological sense of time but the rhythm of the soul. And the soul doesn't forget by the calendar but through transformation. The only way for something to stop hurting is not to ignore it, but to integrate it, to stop fighting the feeling, and instead ask, what is it trying to tell me? Sometimes the pain of absence isn't just because the other person left, but because a part of you stayed behind and hasn't fully returned yet. And in this quiet waiting, in this in-between space between who you were and who you are becoming, their presence still echoes. And if the echo is still audible, then something is still vibrating within you. Maybe it's not even about their physical return. Maybe it's not about them becoming part of your life again, but about acknowledging the place they've occupied, the lesson they left behind, and the internal shift they caused. Because even nostalgia has its purpose to remind us of what was real, what touched our hearts, and what resonated with us on the deepest level. Not everything that ends disappears. There are connections that don't break. They just transform. And there are emotions that don't fall silent. They simply seek another form of expression. If you feel that someone still lives within your soul, then listen honestly to yourself. Not to hold on, but to understand. Not to repeat the past, but to honor it and give it its rightful place within you. You may never receive external confirmation. No words that say, yes, I feel the same. But the soul doesn't need confirmation. It needs truth. And if something in you still beats with this person's name, if you feel something stir when you close your eyes, then accept that beating, because there is nothing more human than longing and nothing deeper than love, even from a distance, even in silence. And in that honest acknowledgement, in that non-judgmental acceptance, healing begins not to forget, but to become free. Because true closure isn't forgetting, it's peace. And that peace comes when we stop denying what we feel and begin to see what the soul has been whispering all along. Sometimes, the strongest connection is the one you can't see. But never stop feeling, because there are memories that are not mere reflections of the past. They are living presence. They settle into the body like a part of it. They don't just belong to the past. They don't live in photo albums or dates. They live in the extended moments of silence when everything seems to be over. In that moment, when someone says a familiar name and your heart trembles without you being able to stop it, these are the memories that seem to breathe when someone wears a familiar scent, or when someone laughs in a way that reminds you of the laughter you still dream about on cold nights. Because emotions do not follow the rules of time. There are sorrows that inscribe themselves into a season that does not change. Even as leaves fall and bloom again outside, you notice it when you think you've moved on. And suddenly, without warning, a part of you breaks at the sound of a single word, a song, or a gesture, as if that absence refuses to fully disappear. And then you realize, it's not just sadness. It's the echo of what was left unsaid. It's the unresolved energy that continues to pulse between you and the other person, because when a connection remains open, it becomes a channel. You don't always see it, you don't always want to see it, but you feel it. And no matter how hard you try to explain everything rationally, there is something that can't be rationalized. Perhaps because it went deeper than you ever allowed yourself to admit. Perhaps because it was more real than the external circumstances ever made it seem. What hurts isn't the end of the story. It's the part of you that still lives inside it. The part that didn't know how to say goodbye. The part that's still hoping for a sign. And signs do come. Sometimes gently, sometimes intensely. A glance in a crowd that feels too familiar. A message sent by mistake, but it hits you right in the heart. A memory that falls from the sky like rain on dry earth. And no, this is not weakness, not fragility. It is sensitivity. The ability to feel the invisible, to receive what isn't shown, and to understand the world through a more intimate, quieter channel. This intuition, which Jung so deeply valued, is not a whim. It is the soul's inner radar. It lets you know without needing to know. It guides you when everything feels confusing. It whispers to you that you're not crazy for feeling what you feel. Because yes, there is someone on the other side who feels it too. Maybe they don't say it. Maybe they deny it. But they feel it. And you sense it in the shift of energy, in the trembling without cause, in that feeling that something brushes against you and touches your soul, as if the memory weren't an idea, but a force. Because true connections don't require daily contact. They survive in the dimension of symbols. In that place where emotion becomes language, where a sigh can be a call and a tear, an answer. What matters is that you learn to read these signs, not to cling to them, but to understand them. Because in understanding lies liberation, and in liberation lies peace. Peace doesn't mean emotional numbness. Peace means conscious presence. It means looking at the connection with gratitude instead of pain. It means no longer searching for explanations, but accepting that there are things only the soul understands. Letting go doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop waiting. It means honoring what happened without needing it to return. It means knowing there was love, there was truth. And that alone is enough to change a life. Because some people don't come to stay forever. They come to awaken something in you that was asleep. And once it has awakened, their role is complete. Even if you don't yet understand it. Maybe this person showed you what true love is. Maybe they saw you without a mask. Maybe they gave you back your belief, even if they left afterward. And yes, that hurts. But it is also a gift, because sometimes the wound that remains is the proof that something meaningful happened. And that depth, even if incomplete, is sacred. Don't run from what you feel. Don't be ashamed of your longing. Don't shrink yourself because you remember with tenderness. That tenderness is your treasure. It is what remains after love has done its work. And you are left with the essential, the sensitivity that makes you human, that connects you, that makes your soul resonate. Keep listening within. Don't lose yourself out of fear. Don't harden your soul just to avoid feeling. True strength is not in suppression, but in embrace. not in ignoring, but in looking honestly. Because when you do that, when you allow yourself to feel everything, the love, the loss, the hope, the silence, something within you realigns. And from that realignment, a new way of being emerges, freer, calmer, and more deeply connected to yourself. But that is the true alchemy of the soul, to transform pain into understanding, absence into inner presence, and sadness into a bridge to yourself. And when you arrive in that space within, the space that's been waiting for you all along, you'll realize it was never the other person you were trying to bring back. It was the part of you that lit up when that connection touched your soul. The part that dared to open, to believe, to feel without limits. Because even when the story ends, something remains. Your capacity to love, your ability to resonate so deeply with another person that you saw yourself in their gaze. And that isn't lost with a goodbye. It lives on in you. And if you nurture it with love, it transforms into strength, into wisdom, into compassion, especially toward yourself. Because how many times have you judged yourself? How often have you blamed yourself for feeling too much, for giving too much, and thinking that everything would have been different if you had been less you? But now you understand, it wasn't a mistake to feel deeply. What you felt was real, and the real needs no justification. It only needs to be acknowledged, held, and integrated. The scar is not a sign of weakness. It's proof that you have healed. And the feeling that still lives within you is not a sign of stagnation. It's a sign that your heart is still open, ready to learn, and ready to expand even more. Maybe there will be days when nostalgia returns without warning. It hits you in the middle of the street, in a cafe, on an unremarkable afternoon. It comes with a scent, a song, a name casually spoken, and you feel it as if no time has passed, as if everything is happening again. But don't be afraid. You're not going back. You're feeling. And every time you do it consciously with acceptance, you give space to a part of you that still wants to be seen, not to repeat the past, but to move forward with more truth. Because the soul doesn't heal through escape. The soul heals through presence, through touch, and through the quiet whisper, I am with you. And this inner companionship, this presence with yourself, that is the only thing that remains. Others may leave, circumstances may change, but you are there at the center of it all. And when you learn to be a refuge to yourself, that voice without judgment, that calm amid the noise, then you no longer need anyone else to give it to you. You will give it to yourself. And when that moment comes, you will love in a new way. No longer from lack, but from abundance. No longer out of fear of losing, but from the joy of sharing. And perhaps in the midst of your inner journey, you'll realize that other souls are also finding their way back. People who, like you, have felt lost, searched, and broken, and are now putting themselves back together. And when such souls meet, it is not out of need, but out of connection, out of the truth of knowing they are vulnerable, imperfect, and human. And right there, a new way of loving is born. Slower, deeper, more real, because it's no longer about filling gaps, but about building bridges. It's no longer about eternal promises, but about honest presence. And maybe what you feel as nostalgia is not even a longing for what was, but for what you once promised yourself when you loved with an open soul for the first time. That promise still lives. That desire to live authentically, to give yourself completely, to see the other without masks. It is a flame that never fully dies. You may have hidden it or silenced it, but it still burns. And every time someone touches that part of you, it flares up again. Not to burn you, but to illuminate you, to remind you that you are alive, that you can still feel, that you can still love without losing yourself. Maybe you will meet this person again, not as before, not under the same conditions, but from a different place within yourself. Or maybe you'll never see them again. And that's okay, because the most important reunion is not with the other, but with yourself, with the part of you that understands, that has healed, that has let go without forgetting, that has loved without possessing. And from that place, whatever comes next is welcome, because you no longer need validation. You know, you've felt, you've integrated, and that no one can take from you. Keep going, sensitive soul. Don't be afraid of your depth. Don't fear the echo of who you were, nor the whisper of who you might become. You are on your way. Every tear that falls has meaning. Every moment of conscious silence, every emotion you allow without censorship is an open door to your inner center. And there in that center, there is stillness, there is fire, and there is life. And from there, a new version of you is born. Not despite the pain, but through it. Let it grow, let it speak, let it guide you. Because in that inner voice, in that constant whisper that never leaves you, lies the strength you searched for outside for so long. And now you've found it. It was always within you. And when that voice finally becomes clear, when you can stay in the silence without running from what you feel, something inside you begins to shift. At first, barely noticeable, like a breeze quietly moving the curtains. But you sense that something has changed. You no longer need to chase answers. You no longer ask yourself in desperation whether they still think of you, whether they remember, or whether somewhere in the corners of their world there is still a place with your name on it. You begin to understand that love is not measured by duration, but by depth, and that some encounters, though brief, shook you so deeply that they broke you into 1,000 pieces, not to destroy you, but to remake you. And as you walk through your own ruins, you pick up the pieces that matter, the ones that tell the truth about you, the ones marked by experience and no longer wishing to hide. The soul does not regenerate in haste. It heals in the sacred space of acceptance. What you were, what you felt, what you dreamed, and even what you lost, all of it is part of the emotional map you can now look at without fear. You no longer blame yourself for loving so much. You no longer punish yourself for not being able to hold on to what slipped through your fingers. Now you understand, it was never about control. It was about feeling. And you felt with your whole heart, and that was real. And then, a new kind of compassion begins to grow. A compassion that not only looks tenderly at your own past, but also at the other, at the person who may have hurt you, who may not have known how to love, who may have let you go when you still wanted to stay. And now, from a distance that comes from within, but no longer from the wound, but from understanding, you recognize they too were lost. They too had shadows. They too did the best they could with what they had. That doesn't excuse everything, but it makes it human. And by seeing the other as human, you let go. Not because you agree with what happened, but because you no longer want to carry something that pulls you away from yourself. Forgiveness then becomes not a pardon for the other, but a liberation for yourself. And there, in this newfound freedom, you can begin to write a new story. One that does not deny your past, but is no longer bound to it. A story in which you are no longer the one who waits, who breaks because something is missing, but the one who chooses, who breathes deeply, looks out into the open, and moves on feeling whole, free. So next time you feel a restlessness without reason, or a name drifts quietly drifting through your mind, a name you thought you had buried in silence, don't dismiss it as weakness. Maybe it's just your soul showing you where traces of life still remain, where a hidden need still longs to be felt, understood, and released. Maybe it's not a sign that you should return to someone, but to yourself. Because true healing doesn't come when you forget what was, but when what was no longer holds you back, but shapes you. And right there at the crossroads between who you were and who you are becoming lies your strength. The strength to love without fear, to remember without pain, to move forward with a heart that may have been wounded but remains open. And that is in a world that constantly teaches us to be cold, closed, and fast. An act of true courage. Because what survives the silence, what endures the absence, still beats within you, softly, truly alive.